So let's look at this scene here of the introduction to Jar Jar Binks in The Phantom Menace. And then, of course, Roger Rabbit in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And these are the introduction of these characters to the audience as they are now meeting and encountering one of the other main characters in the movie that could either be the protagonist or main supporting character to the protagonist in some way. And these are iconic encounters, iconically depicted on the screen, on the big screen. And both of these characters are very similar. They rhyme in many ways. And you can see this. And this is Mister The Prequels, by the way. Mister The Prequels presents the prequels. And the prequels is the best Star Wars that there is. Yeah, the prequels is the best Star Wars there is. And you can get it, you can see it, watch it. No, listen to me. The Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, is an all-time epic masterpiece due to this factor right here. This is the key that makes this whole thing work. And you have to get Jar Jar. Jar Jar has to work because he's the key to this whole thing. He's the key to all of this. Jar Jar is literally the key. And if you look at this introduction, you will see how the dynamic works. And we've only put sound on one of the clips. And then, of course, for various reasons, we've had to adjust that. But you'll see now that only in the way that the characters act and interact and the story that's being told to the audience about these characters. And this looks like as Eddie Valiant is here, and then Roger Rabbit, and then of course here Qui-gon Jinn and Jar Jar Binks. And this is the essence of this introduction, where you have these two characters, both of them cartoon characters and cartoonish and cartoons. Live action, like C-3PO is a cartoon. Look at this character now. Any one of these characters. It's another one of George's characters, and he's the maker, and thank the maker. And yes, praise the maker. Thank the maker. George Lucas gave us these characters, and he loves these characters. And if you don't like it, fine. Make your own characters. Or you can do what some of these people have done, and of course you know they said there has been an awakening, and we all know that there has been no awakening. Of course we know that there has been no awakening. And there's been no awakening, friends. You know it, and I know it. There has been no awakening. And you know it, and I know it. Literally, there's been no awakening. And what there has been is a complete changing of the reality, real Star Wars, to a literal cartoon, bad cartoon version of Star Wars, with no creativity, no imagination. It goes beyond parody, in that you must parody what is being presented now as real Star Wars. It's not real Star Wars. This is real Star Wars right here. Just what you're looking at. This is George Lucas Star Wars. This is the heart of the creator right here. Now look, if you can get this, look, if this can work, if you can get this, then you're going to get All of this. And you're going to have to get George Lucas. Because listen, Jar Jar is the key to this whole thing. Now listen to me. Lucas is the key to all of this. It rhymes. Lucas rhymes. Here, look at Jar Jar. Look at George. George, who do you think came up with the way Jar Jar walks? It's George. George wants this character to look a certain way and act a certain way and function as a certain role in the Star Wars universe and in the story of Anakin Skywalker. And it looks like C-3PO, where in the original trilogy you had C-3PO, a somewhat of a clumsy, awkward, out of place character, if you will, person. C-3PO is this character's a droid, and I don't know that this character is ever referred to as a he or a it or a they or a she, but whatever. I might say 3PO or C-3PO. But 3PO is a droid, and the owner of this droid is Luke Skywalker. And C-3PO is a droid, and of course, in the Star Wars universe, droids stand in for people in various roles and situations, such as with the clone troopers in Attack of the Clones. And of course, yes, these are people, but they're clones. And so they're manufactured for the purpose of being compliant and obedient to the orders that are given, so that they're raised to be soldiers that only do one thing, what they're told. And that's all they do. And they think with much more creativity than does a droid. And then of course you have this line from Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, while he's talking to Dex at Dex's diner there on Coruscant, and he says, well, if droids could think, there'd be none of us left blah 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 around here to do anything, or something like that, whatever. So droids represent this kind of a servant class or slave class, if you will, although they're not called slaves. They are owned, and there are slaves of various characters, human slaves, of course, in the Star Wars universe. But these droids, they're sent off to battle, or they are told that their kind isn't wanted here, or that they're not served. We don't serve your kind here. No droids allowed, so to speak. And all of these characters serve a purpose in the story of allegory, fable, mythology, and hero telling. It's the story of the hero. And in one way or another, each of these characters in the Star Wars universe that are the main characters, and here I'll only just pick a few from the original trilogy. And here we're looking at a clip right here from the prequels, which tells you what we're supposed to see, what the author wants you to see, what the creator wants you to know about this character and about these characters. In the original trilogy, it was Luke Skywalker, son of... Now look, listen man, this is spoilers, so if you don't want spoilers, stay away from this place. And we got some other stuff that's non-spoiler or spoiler-free, but this is all spoilers. So Luke Skywalker, son of Anakin Skywalker, that we later learn in Star Wars, of course. But of course, in Star Wars, New Hope, we don't know this. But Luke is reluctantly the steward now of these droids that are now in his possession, that his Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru are now the owners of these droids. So it's basically treated like they're slaves, in that he's got to take them down to the shop, wherever it is he goes, he's got to have their minds wiped and blah, 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 so that's the thing. But they're slaves, they're mindless robots, they're not people. They're not to be regarded with any personal feeling or emotion. You see these droids, of course, the of the B-1 droids and Federation droids in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, they're basically the Three Stooges in this robot form. And they're droids. But their sole purpose is to be an industrialized military force, which of course is the industrial military complex. It's industrial indeed, as you see it. And all of these are just machines, parts, cogs in the wheel, so to speak, machinery. As George is now comparing these and showing. And the humans do the same thing. They have clones. And all of these clones are only there to do what they're told and to kill or to die according to as they are told, and not to think anything outside of that other than to use their creative skill to accomplish those missions, whatever that is to be accomplished. And so there's a very complex story here to be told, and Jar Jar represents the outsider, the outcast of the outcast group. So you have the Gungans. Here now we're going to episode, of course now, going back to the original trilogy with the main characters. You have Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia Organa, who is, of course, Luke Skywalker's sister. Spoilers, sister. And then, of course, Han Solo, the rogue, and, of course, good heart. And no, he did not murder anybody in cold blood, according to the creator, so don't worry about that. The creator fixed all of that. The creator can do whatever the creator wants to do to the creator's own work. And that's the way it is. If you don't like it, then you go make your own version of what the creator made because he's giving you permission to do it. But the official version, the Lucas approved version, and I'm not talking about the trademark, quote, owned by, you look it up and see who the creator said it's owned by now, end quote. But I'm talking about the real Star Wars, the George Lucas Star Wars. And you can't get any more real than Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, starring Jar Jar Binks. Yeah, in the original trilogy you had Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo, Chewie, Chewbacca, one of the all-time most classic and iconic characters ever. And if you want to know how Chewbacca went out, man, that dude went out as a hero. Chewbacca. Lando Calrissian. Yeah, look it up. Chewbacca. Yeah, he went out as a hero. And basically, the Disney movies turned Chewie into a clown. Turned Chewie into a dog. And turned Finn into a dog. Yeah. But so George had a different idea. He wanted to make real stories with real characters, with real meaning and purpose that had real agency. So Jar Jar has real agency. And in the original trilogy, we had his comedic relief and his narration device, the droids. And this was R2-D2 and C-3PO. And of course they were comic relief. And of course they were there to provide exposition, narration, access to anyone in the audience that wasn't following the story, as the droids are there along, bumbling along, it seems, but somewhat with luck or determination and tenacity based on loyalty to friends. And that's the story of Star Wars. It's the story of friends, alliances, characters, and how they become what they are through their choices. And now we see the Jedi in Star Wars Episode 1 and their prime, so to speak. And then, of course, in Star Wars Episode 4, 5, and 6, the original trilogy, we had old Ben Kenobi. And now here we have young Obi-Wan Kenobi. And then we're not even going to talk about that horrible other thing. We're not even going to mention that other one. You know what I'm talking about. I'll give you one hint. Kenobi. Yeah, no, we're not even going to bring that up. And why does Disney keep turning these people into pointless characters or just creating mythos-breaking stories, character arcs? And none of this has anything to do with the creator's vision. It's all to sell soda pop, toys, bobbleheads, Happy Meals, whatever it is, whatever else they're trying to make kids buy or whatever. So now they've got bobblehead Darth Vaders and Chewbacca selling Toasties and whatever it is that they're selling, Pop-Tarts. So, you know, you have all these people that they love Star Wars, but they don't even know what it is. They've never even seen it. They've never even encountered it. So, yeah, if you want to know what real Star Wars is, you need to watch this. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Written and directed by George Lucas. An all-time epic masterpiece. Yeah, an all-time epic masterpiece. Producer, Rick McCallum. Executive producer, George Lucas. Yeah. And Jar Jar Binks is the key to this whole thing. And if you want to understand Star Wars, you got to get Jar Jar. He's one of the main characters in Star Wars Episode 1. He is the key to this whole thing. Yeah, he's clumsy, he's awkward. Demonstrates either a lot of luck or some in tuneness with the Force. Also shows he is loyal, shows his worth to the group, to the community, by showing his loyalty and practical support to practical effect for positive outcome. And that's it. That's all the time we have for today, dear friends. Until we meet again, remember, your focus determines your reality. And to be the Force, be with us.